Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into some really interesting stuff today.
Hmm.
We've got a collection of articles and research, even a YouTube video transcript, and it's all about AI,
Yeah.
but with a bit of a twist. I mean, we're not just looking at the tech itself, right? We're kind of going deeper into the human side of it all, like,
Right.
ethics, responsibility, fairness, bias, all that good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And, the material is really diverse. You've got some really heavy academic papers in there. There's algorithmic fair, like hardcore stuff.
Wow.
And then we've got perspectives from actual companies, people doing the, like
Yeah.
IBM and Sanofi.
Mhm.
And then just to shake things up, we even have Forbes and like a Crash Course AI YouTube channel.
It's going to be good. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's a good mix.
It is a good mix. And I got to admit, I've had a sneak peek, and there are some pretty wild things in here. Google's AI making some weird mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a passport photo checker with racial bias,
Oh, wow.
and even a chatbot that just went completely rogue.
It's like the whole spectrum.
So where do we even begin?
Well, I think the best place to start is with a definition. You know what exactly is AI bias?
Okay.
Because a lot of people think of it like robots, deciding to be prejudiced.
Right.
But it's much more subtle than that. It's almost like think about humans and ants, right?
Okay.
We don't generally want to harm them, but if they're like in the way of our picnic,
Yeah.
they might get squashed without a second thought.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, and we don't even realize we're doing it.
Right.
And that same unconscious bias can creep into the AI systems we build.
Uh-huh.
And the problem is amplified because AI can make decisions at a scale and speed that we can't even fathom,
Okay.
potentially impacting millions of people.
So it's not just about individual biases. It's almost like those biases are being
Exactly.
scaled up.
Yeah, it gets baked into these decision-making.
Right. And potentially making decisions about
Lives.
Yes, and to make things even more complex, there are actually different types of AI bias.
The data bias, for example, happens when the data you use to train an AI is flawed or incomplete. It's like building a house on a shaky foundation.
Yeah.
The whole thing is compromised from the start.
And then you've got algorithmic bias,
Right.
which is kind of like the AI inheriting our prejudices,
Yeah.
like that Amazon recruiting tool.
Oh, yeah, classic example.
Yeah, that was supposed to help them hire the best candidates, but
But it ended up discriminating against women
exactly.
because the algorithm was trained on data from previous hiring decisions.
Right.
And those decisions reflected the existing biases within the company.
So the AI was just doing what it was told.
Exactly, learning to replicate the biases.
Oh.
And that led to those unfair outcomes.
And then there's that third one, user bias.
Oh, yeah.
That's where the people using the AI accidentally introduce their own biases.
Exactly. Imagine a doctor using an AI-powered diagnostic tool.
Okay.
If the doctor phrases their questions in a way that kind of nudges the AI towards a diagnosis, that's user bias.
Subtly influencing the system.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got all these different types of bias lurking around.
Yeah, lurking everywhere.
But why should our listener care about this?
Well,
Is this just theoretical, or is this actually impacting people in real life?
no, this is having real-world consequences.
Okay.
Take the compass system, which is used in the criminal justice system to like assess the risk of someone reoffending. Studies have shown it's biased against African Americans,
Oh, wow.
leading to like harsher sentencing recommendations for people of color,
That's disturbing.
even when their offenses are like super similar
Yeah.
to those of white individuals.
I remember reading about that facial recognition
Oh, yeah.
that has trouble with darker skin tones,
Huge problem.
wrongful arrests,
Yeah.
all sorts of problems.
Absolutely. And it even affects healthcare.
Really?
Yeah, some algorithms perpetuate existing inequalities,
Wow.
denying people access to the care they need based on factors like their race or socioeconomic status.
It's making me a little nervous, to be honest.
I understand.
Makes you wonder if we can trust AI at all.
Well, I get your concern,
Yeah.
but it's important to remember that a lot of brilliant people are working on these problems.
Okay.
There's a whole field called responsible AI that's focused on minimizing bias.
Okay, so there is some hope.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What are some of the strategies they're using to combat the bias?
Well, one technique is called data set augmentation,
Okay.
which is like adding more diverse data to the training set.
Yeah.
You're kind of broadening the AI's perspective.
So instead of just a narrow slice of data, you're giving it a more...
Exactly. It's
Yeah,
not just quantity,
right.
it's quality too. They're actively seeking out data that represents a wider range of perspectives.
So if you want the AI to be fair, You've got to
You've got to give it fair data to learn from.
teach it with fairness. Yeah.
Another area is explainable AI,
Okay.
which is all about making the decision-making process more transparent.
Okay.
Instead of just giving you an answer, these systems can actually explain how they arrived at that answer.
Oh, so it's like giving the AI a voice.
Exactly.
And you can see how it's thinking.
See if it's based on sound logic or biases.
That's really interesting.
And then there's continuous model monitoring,
Okay.
which is like constantly checking the AI to make sure it's not drifting into biased territory.
So you can't just fix it once and...
No, it's constant vigilance.
Right. Okay.
So it's a journey.
So it's an ongoing process.
Absolutely.
Wow. But even with all these efforts to combat bias,
Yeah.
we still have some really big questions about the future of AI.
Right.
Like singularity,
Oh, yeah.
where AI surpasses human intelligence.
That YouTube video you shared, it goes deep into that, and it's mind-blowing.
It is. It's like this intelligence explosion where AI becomes so powerful that it can, like, take control, rewrite its own code, and who knows what happens then.
It's exhilarating and terrifying.
It is both.
It really raises questions about what intelligence even is.
Right. What is consciousness?
How do we maintain control?
Yeah, this is like,
As AI becomes more powerful than us.
this is getting into some sci-fi territory here.
Yeah, but it's something we have to think about.
Yeah, it really is.
The choices we make now will have huge implications
For the future.
for the future of humanity.
And that's where that idea of beneficence from the video comes in.
Yes,
Designing AI systems that are inherently good.
that's the key.
Not just powerful, but beneficial to everybody.
For all of humanity.
This is getting pretty deep.
It is complex, but incredibly important.
Yeah.
And it's not just up to the scientists and engineers.
Yeah.
Every single person has a role to play.
Wait, so you're saying that I, as an individual, can actually influence something as massive as AI?
Absolutely. And we'll unpack that in the next part of our deep dive. So we were talking about how we as individuals can actually make a difference in the world of AI.
Yeah, that was a pretty big claim.
Right. That's a big question.
How do our everyday choices impact something as big and complex as AI?
Well, it starts with understanding that AI isn't some distant thing. It's really woven into our lives. And the choices we make have a ripple effect.
So how can we actually, like, steer AI in the good direction? Like, what are some things people can actually do?
One really important area is data privacy. I mean, AI systems rely on tons of personal data, right?
Yeah,
So we need to be careful about protecting that.
that makes sense.
Like one of your sources, the paper on responsible AI, it talks about data anonymization, making sure data can't be traced back to specific people.
So it's like the fuel that powers AI.
Right.
But how do we make sure it's used responsibly without, like, stifling innovation?
That's the balance.
Yeah.
And interestingly, IBM is actually researching ways to anonymize data without messing up the accuracy of AI models.
Oh, wow.
It's like, imagine using medical data to train AI to diagnose diseases, but never revealing who the patients are.
So you can still learn from the data,
Exactly.
but you're protecting people.
That's the goal.
That's pretty amazing. Like blurring out faces in a photo,
Yeah.
but you can still see the whole picture.
Exactly.
Great analogy.
And it's not just about protecting data from, bad guys.
Right.
What about AI accidentally revealing personal stuff?
That's a big one. Like if a model's trained on sensitive medical data,
Yeah.
we have to make sure it doesn't accidentally spill the beans.
So we need safeguards
Multiple levels.
to protect people, but also just to make sure AI is used the right way.
Exactly. And encryption is a huge part of that.
Okay.
Think of it like a locked vault. Only authorized users can access that data.
Right.
It's like adding a layer of security.
Makes me think about the security of the algorithms themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how do we make sure no one's messing with them?
We have to treat them like any other critical infrastructure.
Yeah.
Imagine a self-driving car and its algorithm gets hacked.
That's scary.
That's a disaster.
So it's about setting boundaries for AI.
Yeah, like drawing a line in the sand.
Don't cross this line.
Exactly.
Okay.
And legal frameworks are super important here.
Yeah. Like the European Union's AI Act. It sets rules on using AI in high-risk situations.
Okay, so like making sure it doesn't violate people's rights.
Exactly. It's about responsible AI development.
It seems like people are realizing that AI can't just be a free-for-all.
Right. We need rules.
We need safeguards.
Absolute. We have to protect people and society.
And that brings us to the ethical side of AI.
Yeah.
which goes beyond just the technical stuff.
What? It's bigger than that.
I remember that YouTube video.
Oh, yeah. From Study IQ IAS.
It talked about 5 values for ethical AI.
Yes.
Fairness, non-maleficence, accountability, explainability, and responsibility.
That's a mouthful.
It is.
But let's break it down.
Yeah.
Fairness. We've talked about that. Making sure AI systems don't discriminate.
Right.
Non-maleficence basically means making sure AI is used for good.
Not for evil.
Not for evil. It shouldn't cause harm.
Okay.
Accountability. Someone has to be responsible for what an AI does, just like we hold people accountable.
That makes sense.
Explainability means being able to understand how an AI made a decision.
Oh, so we're not just blindly trusting it.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And responsibility is like the overarching principle guiding all of these values.
This is a moral compass for AI.
Exactly.
Okay. I like
And
that.
even if an AI is like technically perfect,
Mhm.
it can still be used in unethical ways.
That's a good point.
Like imagine facial recognition that's super accurate,
Yeah.
but it's used for mass surveillance without a good reason.
That's scary.
Yeah, it raises huge privacy concerns.
That's a good point. It's like having a powerful tool.
Mm-hmm.
You could use it to build something or break something.
Exactly. The tool itself isn't inherently good or bad.
It's how we use it.
And that brings us back to individual action.
Okay.
Every time you use an AI system, you're making a choice.
Interesting.
You're either reinforcing its biases or pushing for something better.
I'm starting to see how my choices actually matter here.
They do.
Even as just one person.
You're contributing to a bigger picture.
Okay, that makes me feel a little better.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, it's hard to feel like I'm making a difference against these huge tech companies.
I get it. They seem powerful.
Yeah.
But remember, they're accountable to their users.
Okay.
The more we demand ethical AI, the more they'll have to listen.
It's like voting with your wallet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just consumers. Employees inside these companies can make a difference too.
Oh, right. So it's like,
From the inside.
yeah, like those whistleblowers.
Exactly.
Exposing bad practices.
You got it.
So individuals can push for change from both sides.
Absolutely.
Inside and out, that's pretty cool.
That Nexicode article you shared talked about data privacy. If you work with an AI team, you can push for anonymization techniques,
Right.
secure coding, transparency, accountability.
So you can actually be a voice for ethical AI
From within.
from the inside. Wow.
It's about changing the culture
Yeah,
from the inside out, making ethical AI the standard.
I like that.
And remember, it's not just the tech itself. It's the people who build it, who use it, and the society we're creating.
Yeah.
AI could be amazing,
Yeah.
but we have to be thoughtful.
This has been really eye-opening. I feel like we've gone from the technical nitty-gritty of AI to the big philosophical stuff.
It's a lot to cover.
It is. But what does this actually mean for me as a person living in a world with all this AI?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is.
And we'll explore that more in the last part of our deep dive.
Okay, so we've talked about AI bias, responsible development, and even how individuals can make a difference.
Yeah.
But where do we go from here? I mean, how do we actually live in this AI-driven world without feeling like we're drowning in it all?
Right. It can definitely feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
But there are things we can do.
Okay. Yeah.
Remember that Crash Course AI video?
Mm-hmm.
It had some really practical tips,
Oh, yeah?
even if you're not a tech person.
Yeah, what were some of those?
Well, one thing they stressed was being critical of AI outputs.
Okay.
Just because a computer gives you an answer doesn't mean it's right or that it's fair.
We can't just blindly trust it.
Exactly. Question everything.
I like that. Question everything.
If an AI system gives you a result that seems weird,
Mm-hmm.
dig deeper.
Okay.
Ask yourself, could there be bias here?
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, let's say you're using a facial recognition app.
Okay.
And it's always having trouble recognizing people of a certain ethnicity.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
That's a red flag.
It is.
Don't just ignore it.
Okay.
Report it to the developers.
Okay.
Demand more transparency.
Right, like how is this thing trained?
Exactly. And maybe even stop using the app.
If it's that bad.
Until they fix it.
So we have to be informed consumers.
Yes.
We have to be aware of AI's limitations and hold companies accountable.
Absolutely. And it's not just individual apps.
Right.
Think about the bigger picture.
Okay.
That article on AI ethics and development
Mhm.
talked about advocating for policies that promote fairness and transparency.
Right. So it's about making sure AI is used for good.
Not just for profit.
Not just to make money. Yeah.
We need to make sure AI benefits everyone.
Right. Not just a select few.
And that means getting involved. and
Okay.
the political process,
Oh, so like actually doing something.
supporting policies that align with ethical AI.
So like being an informed citizen really matters.
It's crucial.
Okay, but how do I, as one person, influence something as big as government policy?
Well, it starts with awareness.
Okay.
The more people understand the risks and benefits of AI,
Yeah.
the more likely we are to demand ethical development.
Right. So we have to educate ourselves and others.
Exactly. It's about having those conversations,
Yes.
even if they're uncomfortable.
Even with people who might not agree with us.
Yeah.
Just raising awareness, getting people thinking about it.
Those small conversations can lead to big changes.
Okay.
And you can also support organizations that are fighting for ethical AI.
Right. There are a lot of groups out there doing good work.
Like the Algorithmic Justice League,
Hmm.
they're fighting against bias.
Right. And the Electronic Frontier Foundation, they're all about digital privacy.
Exactly. There are so many people working on this.
That's good to know.
And you don't have to be a tech whiz to make a difference.
Yeah.
Just be an informed and engaged citizen.
So after all this, what's the main takeaway?
The future of AI is not set in stone.
Okay.
It's being shaped right now, and we all have a say in it.
We do.
It starts with awareness, with questioning the AI systems we see,
Yeah.
and demanding transparency from companies.
So speak up.
Speak up. Advocate for ethical frameworks, support those organizations, and be an informed citizen.
This has been amazing.
Yeah.
We've gone from bias to singularity to what we can actually do about it.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. But here's a final thought for everyone listening.
Okay.
If AI is really just a reflection of us,
Mm-hmm.
our values, our biases, our hopes,
Yeah.
what kind of future do we want to build?
That's the question we all need to ask ourselves.
It is.
The future of AI is in our hands. Let's make it a good one.